Hello Harnessed family, welcome back to the nest. This is Harnessed with Rose Joy, and today's episode is under the healthcare segment. By now, for the new subscribers, let me just do it for the new subscribers. You may have noticed that we usually have videos every Friday that drop here, and we have 3 segments in the Harnessed Sanctuary. We have the healthcare segment, soul care, and the self-care. Last week's episode on Keep Dreaming Even When It Feels Heavy was under the soul care segment, but today we are going to handle something concerning our health, something concerning our bodies that affects us on a physical level. From the title, you already know that we are going to handle something that really affects the girls, something that is so personal to the girls, and in local terms we refer this to as spotty. Everyone knows, every girl knows, it's either you have a flat tummy or you have a potty. There is no in between, and sometimes it feels so draining because when you look at the beauty standards, the way they have set, it seems like people who have flat tummies are proud because of whatever reasons, because of how their bodies look like. And so everyone, or not everyone, but most girls would want to also have flat tummies. Having a flat tummy is not bad, and you even yearning to have that flat tummy isn't bad. The thing is, how you approach this whole situation is what makes the difference, because there's someone who will go to an extent of doing some dangerous procedures in their bodies. Somebody might go take dangerous things or drink a number of concussions and all that just to get a flat tummy. That is not the direction that we are going. At the end of this video, what I want you to have is, I want you to have a healthy understanding on how to reduce belly fat, and also this flat tummy idea. How can you have an objective way of looking into this situation as far as you having a flat tummy is concerned? Let me tell you a small story behind this. When I was in campus, my weight was, I think, between 55, 56, 57 kgs. I think I was fluctuating there. But by the time I was graduating, I was at 58 kgs. And then COVID came, we had to go home, sit. I actually learned how to dance during the COVID season. Unfortunately, that skill also went with the COVID itself. And so I gained weight because I was not doing anything, just sitting at home, eating. In short, my life was not that active during that time. And so I ended up gaining weight. I think I got to 60 kg, 61. After a while, I think COVID ikapungua. So now after COVID, life had a good one with me. I think my life just took a different direction from that time. A lot happened to me psychologically. A lot happened to me physically again. If you have watched that episode on stress management, I already outlined how my body behaves when I'm so stressed. If I have been in a situation where I've been stressed for a long period of time, I lose weight. And how come I lose weight? I lose weight because I'm not able to eat. My appetite, outside the window, siezangi kukula during that time. And so because of whatever was going on in my life at that time, I lost weight. I think I went back to 58 kgs or so. Thank God for my soul care regimen. That's why I'm also carrying you along with this soul care thing that is also a segment in this channel. So because of my soul care regimen, I found my way home, and I'm glad to say that it got better, and so I again gained weight. So I'm currently weighing 65 kgs, and that's my recommended weight by the way. The moment I hit 66, 67 huko naingia overweight. 70 kgs, boom, obesity. Because of my height, by the way. That weight is based on my height. When we calculate the BMI, that's when we know that you're not going to the right direction with it, unless we are expecting. If you are expecting, baby, don't control your weight when you get pregnant. Don't control your weight. It's advisable that you gain that weight for the sake of the baby in your womb. So if you are pregnant and you're worried about your weight, I'm just here to tell you, no. You'll think about that weight. When your baby turns 2, that's when we can have that conversation. Well, back to what I was telling you. So I gained weight, and now I discovered, hey, akiaka kapoti kameanza kukuja. Now, previously, I never had a poti. And it's not like it's even big or something. Ni kako tu somewhere hapo. And I asked myself, Madam Nutritionist, what's happening? What's going on? But I just came to realize the fact that I'm gaining weight, it means that I'll gain weight in all these places. Fat storage happens. The challenge comes in when this fat becomes a menace to your health. And I know my weight is okay. I'm not overweight or obese. My weight is okay, but I just have that little potty that is there, which is not a concern for me right now. But I'm just here to address those issues whereby you have now, when this fat is too much, it's now borderline predisposing you to health conditions in your life. Now, let's first understand the difference between general weight loss and belly fat loss. General weight loss, this is fat loss that is experienced throughout the body, and it's usually is primarily driven by a calorie deficit. This is where you are burning more than you're consuming. The key strategies around general weight loss is usually food frequency, calorie control, limiting added sugars and simple carbohydrates, high protein, high fiber diet, hydration, and physical exercise. So those are, in general, those are the areas that we focus on when we want to lose weight generally. However, your body decides where to burn fat first depending on various factors in the body. This could include sex, hormones, age, or genetics. That includes sex, genetics, age, or hormones in the body. So that means we can't spot reduce fat, like we're just targeting, or we are going to lose weight in the belly area alone, or we are going to lose weight under the arms alone, ama nini kitu kama hiyo. No, you can't do that. Let's go to the belly fat loss. Now, once you have realized that this belly fat, you now have this kapoti, and this poti is now affecting your self-esteem, now becoming a health issue for you, and also it's making you not live the best of your life. How do we go about it? First of all, let's understand we have 2 types of fat in your body: the subcutaneous fat and the visceral fat. Subcutaneous fat is found right beneath your skin, and the visceral part, this is the fat that usually accumulates around your stomach region, around your organs, the kidney, intestines, liver, around your stomach region. You know, this is where most of your organs are, and that's why this fat accumulates itself more often around this stomach region. Now, the problem comes in when this fat is in excess. You having fat in the body is not a problem. In fact, you having no fat in the body is a health crisis, because now your body won't function well. Fat, just like other nutrients, also performs different functions. We have the insulation part. We also have it protecting those same organs from mechanical damage. You know, it's also there for hormonal balance and all those things. So fat in itself is not bad. When it gets in excessive levels, that's when it poses health risks in our lives, and that's where you are supposed to address it from. So it's not like to say now you are supposed to have 0 visceral fat. No, that fat content will still be there, only that you want to ensure that this level remains to the required standards that the human body can tolerate. How does this visceral fat come about? Tunakuwa tumefikia wapi ndio hiyo poti inakuja? And this one is brought to you by one thing: chronic metabolic imbalance in the body. Don't worry, come with me, pole, as we unpack what are these metabolic conditions that are now making fat be stored wherever it has been stored. In those parts zenye wewe hutaki, around the stomach region, you want to have your flat tummy, or you want to have that body shape that you so desire. We have 5 major factors that we are going to address. And on to the first factor, which is usually the main the main factor. Excess calorie intake, especially refined carbohydrates and added sugars. So this is what happens to your body. If your diet is rich in refined carbohydrates and added sugars, the body has a way of regulating these sugars. Once you take carbohydrates, the body will assimilate it or will absorb it in terms of glucose. It won't just take it the way it is. It is converted into glucose. So at the end of the day, after eating ugali, bread, mandazi, chapati, mihogo, nduma, maize, all those groups in the carbohydrate group, they are converted to sugar. Once this sugar is in the system, it's supposed to be absorbed and utilized in form of sugar so that you can get energy. There is a point where your body gets and it realizes that no, this sugar content is just too much for me, and so the body cannot continue functioning in this state. And that's why you have the insulin. Insulin in the body is supposed to regulate blood glucose, whereby what the body will utilize what it's supposed to utilize, and then it will convert the excess glucose into fat so that it can be stored into the body. I had already said sugar cannot just be roaming around your blood like that. It will have very detrimental effect. That's why the body in its wisdom decides that for this sugar to be stored, it has to be stored as something else. Every time you take foods that are full of refined carbohydrates and added sugars, what you're telling your body is, I'm just giving you more fat to store, more fat to store. And where is it going to store? It's going to store this fat in many places, including the belly region that you don't really like. The next thing we are going to handle is chronic stress. We experience stress in two different ways. Stress can either be physical stress or mental stress. Mental stress, this is where we find anxiety, depression, extreme worrying and overthinking, grief, unresolved trauma, fear, toxic relationships, toxic work environments, or burnout. Physical stress, this can be accidents or injuries, environmental toxins, poor nutrition, chronic inflammation into the body, and also poor sleep or sleep disturbances. What does stress do to you that will now contribute you to having belly fat? One thing that stress does to the body is increase the cortisol levels. Cortisol is this stress hormone in the body that is usually released when the body is either in a fight or flight mode. When cortisol is being released into the body for long periods of time, this hormone is not supposed to be always on the high every time. It's not supposed to be in constantly on high levels, because once the body notices that cortisol is extremely high or is frequently high to the body, the next information that it gives the body is store fat, because we are in survival mode. That is just a brief explanation on how having elevated cortisol levels contribute you to storing fat. And remember, it doesn't differentiate physical stress from mental stress. As long as cortisol levels are high, be sure that your body will automatically start storing fat. The next factor is poor sleep or a disrupted circadian rhythm. And this is how poor sleep affects your body. We have two specific hormones that control hunger. We have ghrelin and leptin. Ghrelin is the hunger hormone. When ghrelin is high, it tells the body that, we are hungry, we need to get food. Once you get food and eat, now leptin is elevated. Leptin is the satiety hormone. It tells the body we've had enough. This is that system of self-regulation. You eat, you feel full, and then you stop eating. You can imagine if you never had these hormones, you would just eat. And that's why for those people who eat and can't stop, there's usually a problem with these two hormones. When you're not having adequate sleep, your body will now start doing what? Automatically your body elevates ghrelin. Now when ghrelin is high, you're going to eat. Have you realized that once you start having these cravings, you never crave for healthy foods? These cravings are always either savory foods or sugary foods or carbohydrates. That's what we crave most of the time. Crave those sugary foods, get them into the body, and then you remember what we talked about, excess calories, especially the refined carbohydrates and added sugars. The same process now applies. Just because you are not able to sleep well, or your body is not getting enough rest as it requires. Factor number 4 we are talking about is lack of physical activity. This is when you are living a sedentary lifestyle, or you have just chosen not to be physically active. And physical activity comes in various ways. Personally, walking is part of my physical activity because the distance from where I work to where I stay is not that long. So on those days when the weather is good, I tend to walk just as part of my physical activity. But I'm also walking so a lot of times when I'm at work, because I have to move from ward to ward, kitchen to the office. There's a lot of movement, and so I feel like because I'm always on the move, and I also do the walking from hospital to where I stay, it means that it counts as physical activity. But for someone else, it means that you have to intentionally set aside time to be physically active. Either go to the gym, go dancing, go swimming, just create space, just create time to make sure that there's this time that you are moving your body. Physical exercise will ensure that you have more muscle mass than fat mass. This will also improve your metabolism, and therefore your fat burning capacity is going to improve. So as we are eating our nutrition, we're also making sure that we are utilizing these nutrients that are getting into the system. And fat being that thing that you don't want it to be stored, it means that you need to work on your metabolism so that it also burns this fat. So what will happen when you have a sedentary lifestyle? Your body will automatically store that fat. And the last thing that is also a contributing factor is alcohol and smoking. Now, alcohol is also a major contributing factor of chronic stress. But again, it also stands on its own as a factor because of, first of all, the calorie content in alcohol. Beers, to be specific, have high sugar content and high starch content. And for smoking, the nicotine that is found in smoking affects the fat metabolism. What does this mean? You're not going to burn your fat as effectively as you would if you are not smoking. So these are also two things you need to take into consideration so that so as to ensure that you're not contributing to fat being stored in the body. I think from this point we may have already noticed that, okay, I feel like this is where I am slacking behind, this is what I need to do, or you already have an idea of or what necessarily causes you to have that belly fat being stored. So having realized that, okay, I feel like this is what has been contributing to me storing fat in the belly region, what am I supposed to do? And these strategies are specific because a specific cause has its own antidote. If you are a chronic smoker or alcohol drinker, again, your antidote, maybe you are not necessarily taking so much refined carbohydrates and added sugars. You will now know that my problem is me reducing my alcohol intake. The strategies are specific to the specific condition that you are having. And it's at this point that in case you really have this burning issue that you'd want me to address, then it's also important that you let us attack it from a personal level. Nutrition counseling is not a one-size-fits-all type of regimen. Every person has their own needs. Every person responds to different things in different ways, and therefore you just can't run away with general advice. So I would recommend that if you have a specific concern that you would want to be addressed on a particular level, then maybe reach out to me. I think I'll need to add my social media handles here on YouTube so that you can reach out on a personal level. Let's arrive at a more personalized plan for you. So what are these strategies that you are going to implement, knowing that this is what is causing us to have this kapoti? Number one thing that we are going to do, we are going to control our blood glucose levels. How are we going to control our blood glucose levels? By the type of carbohydrates we are taking. We are going to limit simple carbohydrates and instead take complex carbohydrates. Food frequency is also going to be a big part of it, and also portion control. The amount of foods that you take, the amount of carbohydrates that you take. Are you taking the recommended amounts, or you are going beyond what is recommended for you. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to have an anti-inflammatory diet. One thing that chronic inflammation does to your body is to tell it to store fat. Just the same way cortisol causes your body to store fat, it's the same way that chronic inflammation causes you to store fat. Inflammation in the body is brought about by many factors. Could be chemicals, could be poor nutrition, but because sugar is a nutrient of concern in this specific topic that we are handling right now, a diet that is full of added sugars and refined carbohydrates also contributes to inflammation into the body. So what we are going to do is we are going to focus on foods that are anti-inflammatory, so those ones that can help fight inflammation. When the body has this inflammation thing going on, what does it do? It also stores. It also contributes to fat storage. What an anti-inflammatory diet will do for you is reduce the cortisol levels and also improve insulin sensitivity. And in that process, you'll realize that less fat will be stored in that process. And the third thing we will also put our focus on is on gut health. Gut health is also another complex thing that I think deserves just a separate video on its own, where we'll unpack all these things, understand better the gut-brain axis and all those things. Gut health support is also a regimen that will enable us reduce fat storage in the belly region. Your gut contains several microbacteria, both good and bad bacteria. Your bacteria is supposed to be in a balanced state where good bacteria outpower the bad bacteria into the system. And this will be ensured by you having a diet that enhances or promotes gut health. Therefore, we'll find things to do with fermented foods that are rich in probiotics. Will also include prebiotics that are food for those good bacteria into the body, hydration that keeps the cell permeable, and several other things such as hormonal balance. So if we make sure that the gut is okay, the gut is also well taken care of, we are sure of our hormones being controlled. The fourth thing is also stress management. If you have already watched the self-care video that I did previously, where I talked about stress management, you will notice that I have also outlined other practical ways that can help you manage stress on a personal level. But if you've not watched it, kindly go and watch it. It's a very good piece for you. This is where we also encourage you to go for counseling, either from a psychologist or from a therapist perspective. Counseling and therapy is very, very much recommended when it comes to stress management and mental health in general. And number 5, without forgetting, is physical activity. Physical activity is very important because this is going to improve your metabolism. It's recommended that you have at least 30 minutes of physical exercise in a day. Could be dancing, whatever thing that you'll choose to do, but make sure that you are keeping your body physically active. And the last thing is sleep hygiene. You've just seen how sleep affects our digestive hormones, or rather hormones that control hunger and satiety in the body. So you don't want having cravings. Those cravings that you usually have may just be as a result of you not having enough sleep. So making sure that you get enough sleep, I think science puts it at, I think, 7 to 8 hours, though it's debatable because others say you don't need all those hours to sleep. Others say 5 or 6 hours is enough. But for me, I feel like I trust the 7 to 8 hours thing, just for a good night's sleep. So guys, as you have realized that you handling belly fat is not just something that you are going to focus on the plate. That is why I don't trust these specific regimens that tell you if you take this particular herb, it's going to help make you have a flat belly, a flat stomach, or if you don't do this, you're going to have a flat tummy. I don't believe in such. I believe that, as you have also said, that it goes beyond you just making sure that whatever is on your plate is clean. You now know that belly fat loss is not just a matter of you eating one specific thing or you removing one specific nutrient from your diet. It means that there is a way we are supposed to change our lifestyle in general to address this specific thing. You realize that once you address this small thing, it's not like you'll just have addressed your belly belly fat thing. These ways also contribute to you having a healthy life in general. And therefore, I believe that you now have a better understanding when it comes to belly fat loss. Your goal should actually be just to have the right BMI. And also another thing that can help you know if you are in the right track, your belly fat needs serious attention, is your waist circumference is not supposed to be more than half your height. For instance, I am 160 centimeters. My waist circumference is not supposed to be anything more than 80 centimeters. And so that is just a little exercise that you can go ahead and do it. But let go of this pressure of you having a flat tummy. Let go of that pressure and instead focus on you having a healthy body. So if you have watched this video to this end, thank you so much for keeping us company. For the new subscribers, welcome home, and feel free to comment, subscribe. If you have a question of concern, you can just ask it through the comments. Let us learn, and then we'll unpack it together, so that at the end of the day we get to our goal of living a healthy lifestyle in general. So with that, I wish you all the best. I know by the time you'll be watching this video, it will be in August. Yeah, it will be in August. And happy new month. Wishing you prosperity and everything nice that you wish for yourself. So until next time, goodbye.